I have Zoom and everything else on my computer, but we do not have Cisco WebEx. So.
Okay. Great. I'm glad you were able to get on. All right, so we will go ahead and start the administrative conference today. Let me first start out by announcing everyone that's on the call from the Department of Public Health. My name is Carrie Dickons. I'm the Director of Environmental Services here at St. Louis County. Michelle, I believe you know, is your inspector. She is on the call. Greg Oberlohr is the supervisor from the South Office, Michelle's supervisor. And Jill Allen is our administrative support manager. She's here to take meeting minutes. And then you see a generic host there that is Zach LaRose. He is facilitating the WebEx meeting for us. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, please?
I am Sherry Graff. I'm the AOP area operating partner for this cafe.
And I am Saba, manager of the Galleria Cafe Centro Subrezco.
Sorry, you were breaking up. Can you say that again?
So I am Saba. I am the general manager of the Galleria Centro Subrezco.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right, we've called you here today for an administrative conference because we've had difficulty gaining compliance with a violation at your facility. And so we've had repeated violations over and over again of the same food code requirement. And during the administrative conference, Michelle will give us a summary of what has been going on and what she's been seeing at your facility. And then you'll have an opportunity to talk with us about how you're going to gain compliance with this code requirement. Okay, so Michelle, can you please give us a summary of what's been happening?
On four separate occasions, I've conducted inspections at this facility. Each time the Hep A shot records were not complete. This is after I did 4 inspections back in April and May of this year, 4/14, 4/26, 5/20, 5/11, and 5/21. And so then I started doing them again on, finally got them in compliance back in May, and then started my next round of routine inspections back on August 18th, and again we're out of compliance. And I went back on 9/2, and I went back on 9/13, and I went back on 9/17 with the notice of violation, and then I went back on 9/27, did the 3rd follow-up visit, and we went through, we've got a new assistant manager at the time. Saba was out of the country, and so we went through the records line by line, and he knew exactly what we needed. Now, since then, when I went in to drop off the letter of for this administrative conference to hand deliver that, I sat down with Saba and her new assistant manager in the store. They say that they've got everything in compliance, and that we've got everybody. What about our, we've got everybody, right? So it looks as though they are in compliance as of right now. But the problem is, you know, it's taking 4 inspections every time before we get to compliance. And honestly, I don't have the time to be going in a place 4 times, you know, to get it to compliance.
Right, so we want to make sure that you are maintaining compliance with this food code requirement. Can you talk with us a little bit about how you plan to make sure that you're in compliance moving forward?
Yeah, I can tell you exactly as the AOP, what I'm going to hold them to is that when they hire somebody, they have 7 days to get their Hep A shot. If they don't receive it within the first 7 days, they will be pulled off the schedule. We pay for them. So our biggest gap is getting them there without us taking them. Most of it is transportation. So we have several locations with CVS and Walgreens, but that is truly our gap. So, but that's when we hire them, we're going to give them that this is the requirement. And if we don't meet this requirement, then we will have to part ways.
Okay, and then also, as you know, there's a second shot in the series.
Mhm.
How will you go about keeping records to make sure that you are getting those vaccinations completed between the 6-month and 12-month requirement?
I mean, kind of the same way. Antonio, the new AGM that's here, has a great organization of it now. He has a book, he has everything, he has the checkoff list. And then once with their hire date, we are actually doing a spreadsheet where they're 6 months out. And then at that point, we'll have their whatever date they got it and 6 months from that. And then it'll kind of be the same process. You know, we're going to give them warnings probably a week, 2 to 3 weeks beforehand. And if when they hit that second target date that they don't have their shot, they'll be removed from the schedule again until they receive their second shot. And I was a GM before. I was an AOP, and I had no problem implementing that process. Saba was just new, and then this cafe has had a ton of turnover. We've had a GM that walked out in the middle of a shift. We've had management teams go here and there. We have a solid management team now that is here to stay. So I feel really, really comfortable. They have 5 managers at this time. And I will make sure, I guess I didn't hear about this really until I heard that I needed to be on a Zoom appointment. So that's kind of a breakdown for me as well with them, is that I'm going to follow up because I have all the city cafes. I have Brentwood, I have Esquire, I have Galleria, I have Kirkwood, Webster, in this area, and I'll have SLU as well. Yeah. So it's just going to be a different accountability that I have to hold them to and follow up, because, you know, I think with our newer GMs, if the GM took care of it where they were at before, they're not used to taking care of it.
Okay. We do need to make sure that this is in compliance moving forward. And I want you to be aware that because we've gotten to this stage of enforcement for you, that if you are in violation again, when Michelle comes in to do an inspection or another inspector comes in, that we would have to recommend to the director of the department that you be closed. So it's a very serious situation now that we've gotten to this point of enforcement. So it's imperative at this point that you maintain this correction moving forward. And that also includes making sure that you have those records available when the inspector comes in and that they're organized. So I just want you to is suspended. It would be suspended for 60 days, at which time you could then reapply for another permit. So we don't want to get to that point. So, you know, just making sure that you're aware that it is a serious situation and it needs to be maintained in compliance moving forward.
Absolutely.
Okay. Michelle, Greg, anyone have anything else they want to add at this point?
Do you want me to do a follow-up?
Yeah, we'll do a follow-up to make sure that they're in compliance, unless you've already gotten the records. If you've seen the records already, then you would need to do that immediately.
No, I'll pop in sometime next week.
I got nothing. Just do the follow up and see how things are going.
So,
Okay. All right.
and Sherry, just to let you know, Esquire's due.
Okay, great.
Just kind of throwing you a little bone there.
All right, good. Well,
Okay.
like I said, I'll get all my team on the same page with us. So,
Yeah, I haven't had too many issues. Well, I've done 2 follow-ups over at Esquire, but it's never gotten to 3. So, but you know, I think we just got to make it a priority.
right, I agree, 100%. I do
Okay.
want to ask though, if we remove them from the schedule because they will not go get the shot, we're not going to get our hands slapped for that, are we? If we can't get them to get the shot and we remove them from the schedule until they can get the shot, I want to make sure we're protected, that that's not going to be a violation and that we close.
Right. You're in compliance if, you know, you take them off the schedule and they're not working.
Okay, that's all I want to know, because that will be the you know, that's really our only strong arm where we can strong arm them, you know, is that they're not going to get to work.
Right.
So, because it's not a priority to them and it has to be a priority to us. So that is one way that we can make that happen, is if they're not willing to get it done, especially because we pay for it, then we will remove them. And if they don't get it within 2 weeks, they'll be removed permanently.
Okay. All right. Saba or Sherry, do you have any additional questions?
Nope.
Okay. So Michelle will do a follow-up inspection here within the next week, and moving forward, you guys will maintain compliance according to what we've discussed here today.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Recording.